Hello everybody, welcome to Nintendo Power Block. I am your host, Eddie V. Thank you guys for joining me. As always, it's my homeboy, the wise Wisconsinite, Mr. Jesse Douglas.
What's up, Ed?
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Yes.
Not as much gaming this week as I'd like. But.
Oh, I did a ton of gaming, trust me. Once again, our boss man, Corey Derrick, is out. He's on baby duty once again, but he might be having a return soon. We don't know. We just gotta be prepared, be ready. So, but everybody, we're gonna jump into what we've been playing. Jesse, what you been playing, dude?
All right, so I haven't been doing a lot of playing this week, but there was a couple of things that I had picked up in sales, because there's some sales going on Xbox, and then there's always sales, every week on Switch, and I had kind of wanted to pick up.
Before you go further with that, anybody who has a Nintendo Switch, there's a game called Galaxy Variant. I believe it's still free. This is a game that came out on PlayStation 3. But now it's on Switch, and instead of them charging you, it's actually free. So if you want a full game, you guys can buy it. It's from Jake Calzo and I think his team from Japan. So if you guys are up to it, you guys could download that for free on Switch.
What's it called?
Galaxy. So
Galaxy. Okay.
Yeah, GALAK-Z Variant.
Okay. But yeah, so one of the things I had kind of wanted to pick up, it's more of almost like a game that you would play on your phone, but I picked up the Midnight Deluxe, where you're that little like glowing cube guy. Uh-huh. And then like it's kind of like one of those where you like stretch your finger out to, determine how far you kind of slingshot them in whatever direction, and you've got to kind of move them through these obstacle courses and land into this like little hole of light or whatever. And so like each level kind of like golf, you've got like so many tries that you can get into the hole to get 3 stars, and then after that it's 2 stars, and then and then 1 star determined, depending on how many times you've had to flip him to move him. Yeah. And so I got that, and I've been playing that, to be honest, on the Switch, because I picked up Octopath, the demo, because I still have that, the demo, the 3-hour demo or whatever it is. And every time I go to play it, though, I start it and then something comes up and I just have to end up turning it right back off again. So I've actually like played a part of the same area twice now, just because it like doesn't save it. What I had done didn't save or whatever, and because it's too early or something in the storyline. I mean,
you can save it once you like in the town and you're able to control your character. There's a book with a feather that's moving, and you can save it there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I did that once, and that's why I like didn't have to completely do it all over again. Mm-hmm. But there was one part that I had done, and I didn't do that or something then last time. So I had to do it over again, like where I'm the one, the cleric, I think, or something like that. Her name starts with an O, but like I have to like direct people to different areas all over the map or whatever. So like it's basically me just going to people, talk to them, have them follow me, and then I got to bring them to wherever they want to go or need to go. So I'm basically chauffeuring people. So it's kind of like that part's kind of been boring, but I mean, otherwise I really want to get into that game, but I have a feeling that it's gonna just take so much time, and unfortunately I don't like to just be stuck playing one game. I have a hard time with that. But
I mean, Octopath Traveler is like the hotness, and I didn't put it in our news bits, but you know, they sold 90% of their initial stock in Japan, and here in America it's sold out, and I think in Europe it's sold out too. But you might still be able to find the copies. You could probably still find copies here, but they were just like, people have been saying, hey, if your store has a lot of copies, hey, just let people know online. Be like, hey, this Target or this Best Buy have like 3 copies if you guys are interested in getting.
Our Target. I went to one of the days this week, and they had some still, but like our Target by us is really good about getting, like, they get stuff in sometimes before everyone else does. Like when I was looking for a Switch, they were the only store in town that had them, that had gotten a restock of them, and so then that's where I was able to get mine eventually. Then, you know, luckily, like only like 2 minutes from my house. But so that was sweet. And then, like literally a couple days later, everywhere else started getting a restock of them. You know, that was when it was still kind of hard to find them anywhere. But yeah, so I mostly been playing that Midnight Deluxe and then Octopath, and then I did play a little Crash Insane Trilogy on my Switch as well. And I think that's and then I did play the Portal Bridge Builder game. I beat a couple more levels of that, but man, some of those are so hard. Like seriously, I think that can be at times one of the hardest games I've ever played, because everything's got to be so, like, just so precise, like literally down to just a little notch, like everything, like, because they actually give you the option to be able to zoom in really, really, really close so you can move it just that little notch down. Like, it is so precise, that game, and it just gets maddening at times because it's so hard to get things, you know, like, because like you've played Portal before, right? You've played both of them, haven't you? Or did you play the second one?
I played Portal 2. I never played Portal 1.
Well, you know how you have those power orbs that like bounce around, and you got to use a portal to like make it go. Well, okay, so you got to use those obviously in this as well. And so, like, imagine they'll have to try to build bridges and pieces to kind of angle for it to bounce off of, to bounce to a precise area to be able to, you know, power on something before you can even get your cars. It gets really crazy and really in depth and way too hard at times, but it's still a pretty fun game though. You know, I was pretty surprised with how good it was. You know, I just thought at first, I'm like, well, you know what, it looks fun, I'll give it a try, but it's really been pushing me for my you know, thinking skills though, to try to figure things out. So, which is always nice. I like games like that make you think every once in a while.
I know, but then can't stick to the Octopath Traveler. That game makes you think. You gotta strategize.
Yeah. What?
You just said yeah.
Yeah.
Which I gotta say,
I will get to that game. I just just right now in my lifetime is not a good time to be immersed in something like that.
Oh, that
So.
is true. I need to get on you about that when you I said something to Jesse and Jesse said something back to me and I died. We was in chat and he's just like, how else is I supposed to do? And I was just like, I'm so dead because I picture what you said in your voice. I'm sorry to get everybody that this is an inside joke, but I never got to address Jesse with that. Oh, yeah, I know what it is. I said something to you and you said something back to me. I was just like, the shade. And he's just like, what else is I supposed to do? And I was just like, dead. Then this one go throw out Squirtle, put it on the shade, on the sunglasses.
What was funny though is like, I think you took it different than what I meant it. And so then that was just me running with it. I was just having fun with it at that point then. Cause I don't remember. I was like, I don't remember what exactly it was that we were talking about.
It was just funny, your response.
Yeah.
Cause it was just like, Jesse clapped back at me. I didn't know how to respond. I was just, dude, with the way that you responded, you wrote it, me picturing it in your voice, in my head, I fell out laughing. I'm sorry, everybody. We're gonna get back into it. I just had to address you with that because you threw out that Squirtle with the shades, and I was dead.
Well, and honestly, we'd goof around and stuff, and Corey does that a lot, where he fakes aggression or fakes certain things like an attack or something on us or whatever. Yeah. And it's funny because I do that sometimes too, like where I just, I'm just joking about stuff, but I try to act serious about it.
Yeah.
But
anything else you've been playing?
That's pretty much it. Yeah, it's just those things, and then there's a whole bunch of things that I just played tonight before we started the show on Xbox, but I'll leave that for Arsenal X.
Okay. So, for me, what I've been playing, is pretty much Octopath Traveler. I'm about to say Project Traveler. Octopath Traveler. I just got the Rowan, I just got my 5th member. So I got 3 more classes that I need to get and then start building up my party and then go to different spots and stuff. So, I'll be working on a little bit more of that. For PlayStation 4, I've been playing Knack 2. Getting a little bit further into that. Oh, goodness. Dude, I'm sorry. That Knack 2 is way better than Mad Max. This game feels like a palate cleanser. I mean, it still has its problems, but I'm just like, I'm enjoying this more than Mad Max. I'm having fun with this game. I could deal with some of the difficulty in the unbalanced attacks. I could deal with a little bit of that. But I'm enjoying it. I already am enjoying it. And on Xbox One, I beat Battlefield Hardlines. And then right now I decided to play Darksiders 2, and I'm going to be trying to work on Tokyo Mirage Session. I really need to finish that game because I don't know if that game is coming to Switch, and I would love a Switch port of this game. I would love for them to be able to bring the game out here and be able to add more localization to it, like English voice acting to it. I would love for that to happen, but I don't know if it's ever going to come to Switch. So while I got it for Wii U, I'm going to be working on that game. Cause me and Corey, we did play it for Pod and Play Season 2. So you guys should check that out. And, we was just like, yeah, we need to really work on this game. Cause we was having fun. It was a good discussion that we had. And I kind of just want to return to it. Cause that was my most anticipated game. And it became hard to find. And luckily, I was able to get my copy at Target. So, Yeah, dude, that game came out and people bought it, and it didn't do really good in sales around the world, but people who bought it really enjoyed that game. Like they were just like, this is a must have for people who like JRPGs. And I was just like, well, ever since I seen the first trailer of this game, I needed to have it. I was just like, yes, give this to me. I'm like, Atlas, Persona, Fire Emblem crossover RPG. Yeah, I need this. And then hearing the music and stuff was already just like, dang, I'm sold on this game. So, but that's pretty much. And I'll go a little bit more detail on Battlefield Hardlines on AX. But yeah, that's what. Sorry, everybody. That's pretty much what I've been playing. I'm going to be diving a little bit more on Project Octopath. Going to try to pop in. So that, I still have some Switch games that's still in the package that I need to open up and start. Because there's even games that I brought on my digital stuff platforms that I haven't really gone back to, like N++, Golf Story. There's a lot of games that I bought and I just haven't went back to them yet. So I'm probably gonna take some time, hopefully at the end of this week, take some time back into playing that. So, but everybody, that's what we've been playing. But we're going to get into these news bits. And our first story, head of Mercury Steam believes Nintendo and Konami resurrected Spanish studio. And all these stories are coming from Nintendo Life. You guys can check them out at nintendolife.com. Spanish-based studio Mercury System is best known for developing Metroid Samus Returns and also working on Konami's Castlevania series, including the 3DS entry Lords of Shadow Mirror of Fate. Although the studio's history has been well documented in the past, during an interview earlier this week, Mercury System boss Enrique Alvarez shared his side of the story, explaining how the company was essentially saved by a chain of fortunate events. He states, back in 2005, when we were about to disappear, and we created a small demo based on a moment from The Exorcist, the movie. Back in the days, the Epic people were showing off their new Gears of War game, and we saw a few pics from a monster. We thought, hey, we could do that as well. Let's do it, and we produced a quite impressive visual test. This led to the studio working with Codemasters, helping to develop Clive Baker's Jericho, and eventually working with Konami and Nintendo. He states, the result was so impressive that I still remember Codemasters told us, don't show it to anyone else, and come here, and come with the PC because we don't believe this is real. That very day we saved the studio. We also went and visited Konami, and that day we met with Dave Cox, and we felt an immediate connection between us. A few years later, Dave Cox himself called us and told us, hey guys, did you want to reboot Castlevania? And that is how it all happened. That's how it all started. And then, this has been explained many times by Nintendo people, how they got interested. We collaborated with them during Metroid Samus Returns. In short, it was because of Castlevania Mirror of Fate. Nintendo liked it and they thought we were up to the task of doing what we did, and the rest is history. When asked about the difference between Japanese and Western publishers, Eric Alvarez made the following observation. Especially with Nintendo, the biggest difference is all they care about is quality, and all they care about is polish. All they care about is giving satisfaction to their players. The rest is secondary. You can't find this working for a Western publisher because there's always time constraints. There's always a lot of pressure. There's always pressure working in any environment, especially when we're talking about massive amounts of money. They're always somewhat very worried about that money, which is normal and fair. But I think that the biggest difference we found is in our direction. It's not saying there's no pressure involved on both sides, but the pressure from a publisher. From a Japanese publisher comes from that aspect, quality. And the pressure in our experience, I can't talk any other experiences, just in our experience, the pressure coming from a Western publisher comes from many other directions. As for what the future holds for Mercury System, half the studios currently focus on Space Lords, formerly known as Raiders of the Broken Planet, and the other half is assigned to providing more stable revenue through partnerships with major publishers and the handling of big-name IP. Eric also said Space Stories would be a great fit for the Switch library, but due to the small size and self-financed team, the studio didn't have the capacity to include it in development, though it was still open to the idea of a possible port in the future. So, it's good to know, because what a lot of people realize is that the Mirror of Fate game for Castlevania for the 3DS, it was such a good game, and people kind of did enjoy it. But then they did the second Castlevania game, and that almost tanked the whole company. Like it really put them in a bad spot. So throughout the years, we didn't hear anything from Mercury System. So when we found out that when I think it was 2016, when we seen at E3, when we see Metroid Samus Returns, we were just like, what is this? And that pretty much blew our whole mind. 16 or 17,
yeah.
Everybody. It pretty much blew our whole mind. But it was 17 because
it was
17. Sorry about that, everybody. Because we had seen Metro Prime 4 logo, and then just on Nintendo Live, you can pretty much see me and Corey's reaction while we talking and seeing Treehouse Live. I was just like, wait a second. Is that a Metroid? Is that Samus? Wait, what is this crazy? And we were just like, wow, they brought 2 Metroid games. And, like, it's the hotness. Like, it's really, really good. And it was just like, they knocked it out the park. And so, I kept calling them Mercury System, but they're Mercury Steam. And the day that it came out, I like, oh, of course, it's a day one purchase. And it sold very well.
Yeah, I still like I have plans eventually to get a 3DS for like the third time. Is that every time I buy one, I like end up like there's not enough games that I really like absolutely needed to get, and so I end up like needing money, so I end up selling it. And I've done that twice now. I bought and sold a 2DS or a 3DS like twice now. And so, but I do really want to play, that Metroid game yet. And I've been tempted a couple of times to want to get one again just so I can play it. But, and cause like right now, like too, you can get a 3DS or a 2DS or whatever for a pretty decent price anyways,
Yeah. And keep checking Target's ads, cause sometimes they have them like for $129 or $139. I think last week they had them like for $129. So they sometimes have a good sales on, their 2DS XLs.
Yeah, and like I know there's that one doorstop one that you can get for like $60 or something like that now.
Yeah,
but
and shoot, I don't know what happened to Amazon Prime. We didn't bring that up. All I heard, it was just a mess.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, some people were having a hard time getting on because the system was shut down.
Yeah, I wondered, are they rescheduling it for another day, or was it just that day?
I don't honestly know. I don't. Yeah, I think it was only that. It might have only been that day. They might have extended it a couple of hours, but I don't know. I guess I don't really know for sure because I thought I had seen something the next day still where they were having sales, but I don't know.
Okay, I didn't take no part in it. I don't have Prime.
Yeah. It's just the thing is like most of that stuff is just inflated hype. It's not even real. Like it just like they make it seem like you're getting a deal, but it's really not that big of a deal. You can get it for the same price as anywhere else, on online stuff. So I don't really fall for that kind of stuff really anymore. Even like, I don't think I've ever participated in the Cyber Monday even. Like, I just don't.
I think I have, and I think the only thing that I got from it was like when you remember what they do the Cyber Mondays and stuff. I would probably try to see if they got a good external hard drive on sale.
Yeah.
That's about
Yeah.
it.
See, that's the only thing that I've been trying to keep my eye open for is I want to get like a 4 terabyte hard drive and like yeah, the lowest I've seen them for so far I think is like around 119.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still looking to find one because I think Corey bought one for like around 60 or $70.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking for, like, because that's about all I really want to spend. And right now, if I only spend that, you can only get like maybe if you're lucky a 2 terabyte.
Yeah, because I go with like WD.
Yeah,
For my
Western,
stuff.
Western Digital or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. But I usually like Seagate, but Seagate's supposed to be known for having like it's like one of the hardest ones to have corruption happen to it or something like that. But they're supposed to be really, really, really well made. But yeah, that's basically that's what I would look for in that kind of stuff. But
yeah. I mean, yeah. and party controllers. I haven't really looked for any kind of Switch accessories because I got, a case. I already got my car charger, so there's like nothing besides Joy-Cons that I would need. And I already got my Xenoblade Chronicles Pro controller, so it's just like for pretty much for Switch. I'm not really looking for anything, and mostly if I am looking for something, it's gonna be the eShop sales.
Yeah,
and probably like if a good sale is on the physical copy of a game, and I got the money, I'll pick it up. Which reminds me, I do literally, I gotta put like $25 to the side, this week because I want to make sure that I have my money right for dead sales. Like literally,
oh yeah, yeah.
like literally, I'm just like, you know what? I'm not even going to deal with Target. I would literally drive all the way to Best Buy to get my dead sales.
Yeah, did you see you could pre-order it on the eShop?
Yeah, but everybody wants the physical.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm one of the few people who doesn't. I just like, I mean, sometimes I want physical, but I ultimately, when it comes down to it, I don't really care. I like, just being able to have the games on my Switch and I can just play them at will and not have to worry about making sure I grab all my carts and stuff like that.
I gotta have my physical. But we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to the next story. Nintendo takes legal action against 2 notorious Arizona-based ROM websites, and they mean serious business. Nintendo has reportedly filed a lawsuit at the federal court in the U.S. state of Arizona earlier this week, with the publisher calling out 2 ROM and emulator websites allegedly owned by the same Arizona-based company for unfair competition as well as copyright and trademark infringement. Nintendo's requesting statutory damage of $150,000 per infringement and up to $2 million for each trademark infringement. According to the source, this could be directly equated to $100 million in damages. Both websites are believed to offer readily available ROMs and emulators to the general public. Nintendo went on record saying these specific sites were the most notorious online hubs for pirated video games, and said the sites were known for distributing and displaying a large volume of the publisher's works without its permissions. The websites are known for distributing proprietary BIOS software and using trademark logos and characters as well. Nintendo believes both sites are professional operations turning a profit. In addition to compensation for damages, Nintendo wants the company to shut down both sites, hand over the domain names, and reveal the source of the ROMs.
Yeah, that's like that, it like surprises the heck out of me that people can get away with it, but like So, like, if you want, let's say you want to get a copy of, like, I don't know, like, what's a really super expensive original NES game, like, if you
Uh,
want to get like the super
like
rare,
track and field for Konami.
yeah, like something like if you want to get like a copy of the really super rare
Yeah.
games and you want an actual physical version of it, you can like go on Etsy or go online and the people make like fake versions of it, but it looks completely like the original cartridge. It's a matter of fact, a lot of them, the only way you can tell that it's a redistribution is you have to take it apart and look at the original like computer chip, inside the actual piece that you're reading. And I don't get how that's legal for people to just sell that stuff, like remake it themselves and sell it.
Well, it depends on if the trademark is lost. So, like,
Yeah,
if that company who made that game don't have the trademark anymore or don't have the license,
yeah.
someone could grab it and just make copies of it and resell it.
But if someone was to buy that up and then renew it, then any of that stuff would be illegal again.
They would have to stop sales of it because then it
Yeah.
would be illegal. But if
Oh,
there's
okay.
if it's like something that feels like it's public domain or something like no one owns it, they could start making copies of it, or they could get that trademark for it and start making copies of it and selling it.
Okay.
That's why.
And I figured that's kind of what's going on with that stuff, but at the same time, it just feels so shady.
And that's why you'll hear news of Nintendo restating the trademark for a game, or getting making sure that they got the copyright. So they keep doing it before the trademark runs out. And people get hyped to be like, oh, they're gonna bring a new game out. No, they were just like, we want to make sure that the games that we make is still games that is ours, and no one can take our product and resell them or anything. So that's why some with some of the old games that Rare did for Nintendo doesn't own Rare's property. They were supposed to, but they don't. Rare owns all of that stuff. So that's why when you look at Rare Replay, all of those games are on that system. But they had to take out anything that's Nintendo related.
Yeah, like Donkey Kong. Like they can't have any of the Donkey Kong games because they already own that. Not
even Donkey Kong, like N64 stuff. Logos and pictures that had N64. Rare had to remove all of that and put in like Xbox stuff or kind of do something. They really can't do nothing. I mean, because Nintendo can still bring out Donkey Kong Country 64 because Nintendo owns Donkey Kong. I think what would happen is they would have to get in contact with Microsoft, make a partnership with Microsoft to allow for that game to come out because they own Rare. And it might be a contract or something, some kind of business deal that if games that Rare worked on that Nintendo want to release, all three would have to come together to agree upon some kind of business deal.
Yeah. But so, like, do they think that, like, I guess I didn't really know for sure, but the story that you just were talking about, is that kind of something that they think they're doing, like reselling these games?
Yeah,
like,
they're putting ROMs in, like, and selling ROMs, like, not is it R4D4 something like that, or RD4 something like that? No, what they're doing is like they're selling kind of like fake cartridges or fake memory cards or ROMs and stuff that have these games on it that they're not supposed to be selling.
Okay.
And so it's like instead of people going to the store and buying an original copy of a game like Super Mario Odyssey, someone somehow was able to rip the ROM information and put it like on a micro SD card or something like that, and pirate it and sell it as their own and make money off the profit where Nintendo wouldn't get anything. So,
so they were selling newer games.
They
were
ripping
selling newer
any
games.
kind of games, any kind of Nintendo games.
Yeah.
So there's probably ROMs on there from like maybe GameCube stuff that this company been selling, and people could buy it and play it on their PC or play it on their Switch if it's modified, or whatever way that they had a way to play it, they were selling that stuff illegally. So they were just they pretty much was cutting out the middleman, which is Nintendo, and just doing something very illegal. So they don't name who the company is, so we'll see what happens, because if they go to court, or when they go to court and Nintendo presents all the evidence and that other company presents all the evidence, if the judge finds Nintendo to be in the right, if they get awarded $100 million in damages, that's going to be crazy.
Well, and that's only going to happen though. Obviously, I don't think that could ever that they would ever get that much, because chances are that this company isn't worth that. Most they're going to end up filing for bankruptcy.
I think what would happen, Nintendo would want them to shut down. They're suing. I think the reason why they're suing them for that much is because the company is operating on 2 sites. So they're doubling their revenue. So they're not just making, let's say, $20 million. They literally probably could be making close to $60 million plus in revenue.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it all plays out. I just found it interesting because I was just like, wow, like it's so weird because Nintendo always gotta go through this with so many businesses and stuff. It's never Microsoft or Sony.
Yeah. Well, it was Microsoft a lot, and when I think this, if this Switch is like the way that they make it sound, like as far as how unable the Switch is to block people from modding it to do whatever they want to it, basically. It's gonna be like the Xbox, the original Xbox all over again. Because my friend had the app on his Xbox where you could put an Xbox game in your Xbox and then just burn the game directly to your hard drive. Boom, don't need the disc anymore, because you just made a copy of it. It was literally that easy. All you had to do is that little tiny mod to it, download that app, and you could save the games directly to your.
That's the thing about it, is that Microsoft, I mean, of course, do emulation or modding stuff, do illegal means to get that corrected, or for that process to happen. Nintendo's been dealing with this pretty much for the NES days. They struggle with people emulating their stuff from cartridges, and that's why, even in Japan, they had to sue a company and try to get them to stop making these R4 or D4 carts, is because people were putting maybe 120 DS games or Game Boy Advance games on these carts and selling them. Yeah. So instead of Nintendo pretty much was missing out close to maybe $1,000 in sales in games and third party, because these people were putting all of these games on this cart. Which I want to tell everybody, you too, Jesse, go on YouTube and look up the People's Court. There's an episode where a man is being sued for illegal emulation or illegal sales and downloading stuff on his Wii. Because And the man said that because the games were too expensive, he didn't want to pay that much. So he gave his Wii to this other dude to modify it so he could get games for free on the system.
Yeah, because wasn't there a thing where you could literally like mod it so the eShop was still available, but you didn't have to pay anything or something?
It was just people modding stuff.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those It's one of those people love to tinker around with systems and get it and crack it and install stuff so they can still get games to their system without paying any money.
One thing I'll admit though that is kind of like cool about all this stuff, like one of the good things that comes out of this is like at one of the retro game stores that we have in Green Bay, I went to. They sell original games there. Like there's people who've like made mods to like other NES games or whatever, and they've basically made their own games out of it and like made completely like, so it's a brand new game, but it plays on your NES.
Homebrew.
And it like, yeah. So yeah, it's like they actually have like a whole section where they just sell like homebrew games. Yeah. Which is pretty cool. Like, cause it's hard to find that kind of stuff like local, like going to like an actual store by us. Like that's the only place I've seen it.
And homebrew is different than illegal mods and emulators. You know, because you pretty much could build something off your computer.
Yeah,
and make it run on the NES or make it run on the Sega Genesis. It's a very interesting thing. Guys, go do some research about it because about homebrew games. We'll probably come back to that in a couple of months. I'm probably gonna have a discussion on homebrew games. But we're gonna move on. Yooka-Laylee joins the battle and brawl out on Nintendo Switch. A new challenger has appeared. If you didn't pay much attention to Brawlout when it was originally released on the Switch eShop at the end of last year, perhaps now you will. Playtonic's Yooka-Laylee, who has just been revealed as the latest guest fighter for the game, based on the trailer, it looks like the deadly duo will have all of their trademark attacks in their very own level. Nintendo Life awarded Brawlout 7 out of 10 stars and said it was a title obviously inspired by Super Smash Bros., with the action feeling fun and frenetic. I'm sorry. Although this guest fighter announcement came in the form of the PlayStation 4 reveal of the game, it's safe to assume the update will at some point make its way across to the Switch version. Previously released guest fighters in Brawlout included Juan from Guacamelee and Hyperlight Drifter. And Nintendo Life gave Brawlout 7 out of 10. Not so many other sites. I was just like, they was kind of harsh on it. But I think that's cool that Yooka-Laylee is showing up in other games and, to see him on Brawlout. So you guys can check out that trailer. Any thoughts about that?
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say, it's kind of a bummer, like with that game and like Super Lucky's Tale, like both of those games look so amazing, but like they both seem to kind of have little issues at times that have kind of turned people away. I still want to try both of them eventually. I have Super Lucky's Tale because of Game Pass and stuff, But I don't know. My friend Pat played Super Lucky's Tale and he said it was really good. So I don't know. So I guess there's that. I mean, some people say they like it, some say they don't. Same with Yooka-Laylee. So
yeah, I have.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I have Yooka-Laylee on Xbox One because I got it for Black Friday for $15. And same with Super Lucky's Tale. But they said the definitive version of Yooka-Laylee is on Switch. So if you guys care to play that, you can.
Like that's the best place to play it, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good because that it kind of feels home there, anyways. Like since they don't have Rare anymore, so.
Yeah. Well, everybody was wanting the game on Switch before all the other consoles, but they delayed it, so they were just like, But we're gonna move on. You guys can dress up as Link when Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate arrives on Switch this August during the DLC rounds. Oh goodness. Following yesterday's announcement, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild will cross over with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That story we'll get to later on, everybody. Capcom has now confirmed its own Breath of the Wild DLC for Monster Hunter XX, and it will be made available in a Western version of the title Monster Hunter Generation Ultimate. The upcoming Switch release is due out on August 28th and is an expansion to Monster Hunter Generations on the 3DS. If you played the previous title, you'll be able to transfer your save data to the new release and continue playing as the same hunters. The DLC will allow your character to wear the champion's tunic, and the feline can also be dressed as a Korok. This DLC is one of the many Breath of the Wild crossovers, with titles like Skyrim also receiving exclusive Zelda-themed content. And looking at the picture, the feline, he looks adorable with the Korok idol. It is so cute and it's yet so funny. And I can understand Capcom. I can understand, Nintendo and Capcom doing this to get more people to buy Monster Hunter Ultimate.
Well, and Capcom's one of the best, I think, next to Nintendo at doing the outfits of their iconic characters in other games.
Yeah.
They do that.
They was literally the first one to do all of this stuff. Like if you look at Monster Hunter 4, I think the felines got Mario and Luigi's outfits and stuff. Like yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I mean just like in general too, like Capcom has been doing that kind of stuff with their games like since the earliest thing I can think of like off the top of my head is in Resident Evil 2. They had it like where you could like put different things, in the
version?
Dead Rising games or whatever, they always have been known to put like Mega Man outfits in it.
Well, Mega Man belongs to Capcom.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying is like Nintendo and Capcom like both really like to put outfits of their characters from other games in other games is what I'm saying. Right. I'm saying like those two are the best at doing that. They always make it fun. Okay,
because I'm thinking it's just like you talking about Capcom putting Nintendo stuff in their games, and just like, well, Mega Man belongs to Capcom.
Yeah,
so I understand why that's in there. But like, I think because Nintendo Capcom has a long history, definitely with Capcom doing the Zelda games for Game Boy Advance. And for Link, I think they did Link. No, they did Link. They did Link's seasons, seasons of Oracle. They did for Link.
Okay. The only thing that I wish Nintendo would do more, like with this game or like any game where you have the choice of being a male or a female character. I really wish that they would start having because I love Zelda's outfit in Breath of the Wild. Mm-hmm. I think that's my favorite outfit that they've ever put on her. And I wish you could use that outfit for female characters in the games as well. I really wish that they would give you that option of having the Zelda, whatever Zelda game they're going with for the Link outfit, they should have the equivalent Zelda outfit as well.
I think they probably will later on down the line.
Yeah,
I mean because
that's the only thing that they never seem to do Zelda outfits. It's always just Link, which I mean I get it. He's the main character you always play as, but I feel especially with Breath of the Wild, she deserves so much more attention.
Well, I think because they could also use Sheik. I think right now they probably can do more, and I think maybe later on down the line they will. For it, and Capcom, probably was focusing more on Monster Hunter World, versus
Yeah.
Generation Ultimate. So probably later on down the line, Nintendo and Capcom probably got plans for that game, because it's just like it just makes sense that, excuse me, people who are going to pick this game up and play it on the Switch, they're going to be like, okay, hopefully they'll bring more Nintendo DLC costumes. If we got to pay, we'll pay for it. And I think that's going to come like down the line.
Yeah.
But we're going to move on to the next story. Latest Mario Kart 8 Deluxe update adds free Breath of the Wild content. Following the recent Nintendo Labo updates for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch, along with the announcement even more was on the way, Nintendo has now added free Breath of the Wild content to the game. Link would now be able to tear around the track on a Master Cycle Zero while wearing the Champion's tunic. You guys could take a look at it if you want to see it in trailer form. And a lot of people are happy. They think it's really cool that this game got more free DLC updates. So it's cool to see it. I like Link's champion tunic. I really do. His motorcycle just looks cool. His motorcycle, ever since they shut it in Breath of the Wild, looks rad, and I think it still looks good.
Yeah, so, the one that, because is it a new motorcycle then that they're adding to, or is it still the one that you could originally get in the game?
It's the one from the Breath of the Wild.
Okay,
so it's that design.
so it's a little bit different. Yeah, a little bit different from the one that's already on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and plus he got like new parachutes and stuff like that. So
okay. All right.
They add a little bit more to that. But let's move on real quick, because kind of want to hear your thoughts on this one. Dishonor and Prey developer Arcane Studios seeking developers with knowledge of Switch. Could a Switch project be on the way? Arcane Studios, the French developer behind titles like Dishonored, Dishonored 2, and Prey, has listed a job advertisement which asks that applicants have knowledge of Switch development kits. The studio has never released a title on a Nintendo platform, with Call of Duty World of Wars online multiplayer maps being the only thing Nintendo fans have ever received from it. So seeing Switch specifically mentioned in the job application suggests that the console has a good chance of being supported in future projects. The Switch is listed alongside other platforms regularly supported by the developer under the Desired Skills section. And it says, desired skills, expertise in one or more technical areas, animation, audio, math, physics, networking, low-level architecture, memory, I/O, experience profiling and optimizing CPU code, knowledge of the platform SDK, PS4, Xbox One, Windows, Linux, Nintendo Switch. Experience with game middleware technology such as Havoc Physics and Cloth, Face FX and Wise. Development experience on consoles or PC with at least one game shipped. Elsewhere, the listing says that the roles offered are for engine programmers who should expect to join the studio in creating ambitious AAA games. This could hint at another sequel in the Dishonored series, or even one for Prey, but could just as easily be an entirely new project instead. Hopefully we'll see something that really is ambitious, as the job listing mentions, and hopefully it really does arrive on Switch. And I know me and Corey have been talking about it would be so good, and Bethesda should have did this. It would have been so cool, so good if Prey got announced for Switch, and Dishonored 2 and Dishonored got announced for Switch also. Yeah. And even if Arcane didn't do it, we really thought that Digital Foundry, or no, not Digital Foundry, sorry, Panic Button would be the ones to do the job, because they have worked well with Bethesda. And if they could get Prey 2 and the Dishonored series to Switch, I think those games would have better sales and better recognition.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm kind of thinking is I'm thinking that this, like, possibly what this could be is this could be like their side group that helps with doing ports
Hmm.
and stuff. Like basically having their own panic button who is willing to, like put the time and the effort in to be able to port games like that to the Switch without them having to worry about it themselves, so they can work on the regular games that they're making, and and make it for everything else, and then have a side group that works on making sure that those games work on the Switch.
Yes.
Like, because I think that's the problem is, like, the only game companies that we're seeing put, like, like major titles on the Switch are ones that are bigger companies that have, obviously have a large amount of people that they can go to, or they have, people like Panic Button that they can go to help them out, like pick up the slack so they can get it to other systems or get it to the Switch. And I think that's what we're going to need. Like, some of these companies might need, because there's only one Panic Button. They can only take on so many projects themselves.
The thing with Panic Button is that because of the Switch, they have gotten more popular, and because of great sales, they've been able to hire more employees.
Yeah.
So it kind of helps realize that a lot of AAA games that are not ported or not coming to Switch, they get overshadowed by a lot of stuff that gets announced for Switch and released. Like Wolfenstein 2. People are talking about it still and having fun with that game and kind of finishing and stuff, but they did more discussion about Wolfenstein 2 on Switch than they did on PS4, Xbox One. When Hollow Knight finally came out, it did great on PC, but the conversation and marketing for that game is still talking because of the Switch version. Even Axiom Verge is still getting talked about because of Nintendo Switch. Like, if you, depending on what friends that you have and everything, a lot of times you will see hashtag Axiom Verge or hashtag this game Nintendo Switch. Like, Project Octopath is dominating the gaming discussion right now. This is from Square Enix. When's the last time you actually had a big title from Square Enix that's been talked about for days and weeks? You might say Final Fantasy 15, but Final Fantasy 15 had a lot of problems. It, with the delays, with one of the, I think chapter 13 being a problem for everybody and stuff, like, but people, they talked about it and then it went away. Like Project Octopath, even though it's been out for a week, people are still talking about their progress, talking about the game, showing pictures, showing video. Like, they are just talking about this, and I think it's going to be keep talking about it for a while. Hollow Knight had a spotlight, and there are still people showing stuff about Hollow Knight and talking about it. And it feels like Bethesda and Arcane Studio, I think if they could put like the Dishonored series and Prey on Switch, they would get more visibility, and if they play up to par with the Xbox One and PS4 version, if people are playing these games and talking about them for talking about a lot and showing gameplay and showing how good it looks and everything, and saying that, hey, it runs great and it's really fun, that's going to get more people wanting to buy that game on Switch compared to what they're doing on other consoles.
Yeah, and the thing is right now it's still a good time for these companies to bring stuff like that, because like we said, really only Panic Button is the like them bringing the like Wolfenstein and things like that to the Switch it's still, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but it's still kind of like, like we're still shocked at how, these big, really aggressive, nice looking games are somehow being able to be played on a Switch. Like it's still like new and exciting, like seeing these kind of, because I mean, eventually if more and more, obviously we can see these big games that we're wondering right now, how is this running on a Switch? Eventually there might be a time where we're like, well, of course this is running on a Switch. Why wouldn't it be able to when this and this game was? So, like for them to be trying to, hopefully get something like Prey or something like that in now, it's a good thing for them to be trying to do it sooner than later, because if they get in later, eventually people might not care as much. But like hopefully that's what they're doing though, is that, or even if they're just planning, like I said, to just make a group that's gonna port all their newer games when their new games come out, will be available on the Switch right away too. Like that's fine too, but like it would be kind of cool to have like a Prey or something on or a Dishonored on the Switch. So
that's why me and Corey said, "Come on, Capcom, bring that Devil May Cry, DLC Devil May Cry to Switch." And I think the sales will literally jump.
Dude, what if they literally said, okay, from now on, Devil May Cry. What if they said from now on, no, Devil May Cry can stay on all the other systems, but then DMC will be exclusive to Switch. So
everybody's going to buy DMC more than over Devil May Cry 5.
Yeah, which I mean I would too, but I'm saying like that would be cool if instead because like that way they can still do what they want to do on Devil May Cry. They can make it the big, super power hungry game that it needs to run all this power and everything, and then leave the DMC for Switch, where they can still be innovative and still do good and fun things with it, but they don't have to worry about the power as much.
What would happen is that Capcom would fear that Devil May Cry 5 would get overshadowed by DMC 2 if that happened. And the thing about it is they're betting big on Devil May Cry 5. If Devil May Cry 5 and DMC 2 came out at the same time,
well,
I mean,
they wouldn't do it. They could do it kind of like what Nintendo does, where you have certain game for the main system, and then they would have a certain game for the handheld, for 3DS, where they could do every other year.
I mean, it's not that. It's just that DMC would have to be on Switch. That's it. What would happen is that a lot of people would be like, okay, the Devil May Cry fans are going to buy Devil May Cry 5. The Switch fans and people who love DMC will buy it for Nintendo Switch. The problem with that is that Capcom is going to be looking for Devil May Cry 5 sales because it's on two platforms, and they're going to see is who is playing this game and is it getting a lot of love. But if DMC 2 and the Switch owners are buying the game, showing that off more than Devil May Cry 5, will Capcom promote DMC 2 more for Switch over Devil May Cry 5?
Well, I mean, ultimately, if they technically own it would just be a way of making sales though from the Switch. But they would be making it through a different way, and it wouldn't matter either way.
That's the thing about it, is that people that's why I said Switch fans and DMC fans will buy DMC 2 if it exclusively came to Switch. And if the more marketing and showing off, like if it plays well, it's a great game, great story, graphics, and everything, and people are loving it, they are going to show that off more over Devil May Cry 5. Because if Devil May Cry 5, of course, it would have good sales because it's on 2 platforms versus DMC 2 being on 1 platform. You got 2 versus 1.
Yeah.
So that 1 would actually have to showcase or equal the amount of those of Devil May Cry 5 to, I guess like equal out. Because they'll be like, well, DMC 2 didn't sell well. Well, if you put 2 games out at the same time.
But that's what I'm saying. They wouldn't put them out at the same time. They would just be like, so like it wouldn't matter what DMC 2 does compared to the other game because that game would have their year.
The thing about it is
and then
that
the next
Capcom,
one would have their year.
The thing about it is Capcom will market Devil May Cry 5 more because they want those sales over them marketing DMC 2.
Yeah, but it still wouldn't matter because people are going to buy it on the Switch.
I mean, it would matter because Capcom will market Devil May Cry 5 more because they feel like they're guaranteed sales on that. The only way DMC 2 is going to get more marketing is by people actually buying the game and showing it off.
Yeah, which I mean, I honestly don't think though they would need to do much marketing because the people who all they need to do is available to see.
It's an unfair marketing practice. It's like, why are you marketing Devil May Cry 5 more, like showing it off in trailers and PlayStation 4 exclusive or Xbox One exclusive, doing systems or whatever, doing a whole bunch of Devil May Cry 5, but then if Nintendo Switch don't get that same kind of marketing with trailers and exclusive costumes and Joy-Cons and stuff like that. Like if Switch doesn't get that and the people are doing the work for you, that's an unfair balance. They would get that stuff. I mean, I'm not saying that they would just completely neglect it, but with Capcom, I think they would. I think Capcom will put their money in. Capcom will put their eggs in a bigger basket that they feel like it's going to guarantee the money compared to a game. A sequel of a game. Just using DMC 2 as a example. Compare that to a game that didn't sell well, or the definitive version didn't sell well. So Capcom will be iffy putting this game they would be iffy on marketing this game. But if they see the sale numbers and people are talking more about this, they're going to be like, okay, we need to switch, because if Devil May Cry 5 is not living up to expectations of the Devil May Cry 5 in the Devil May Cry community, but the DMC 2 and the Switch community are loving this game and they're showing off more, they're going to put more marketing into the Switch version finally than they will over the Devil May Cry 5.
Well, and I think we're kind of gonna have maybe they'll have a little bit of a because I just feel like it's like I don't think Capcom still underestimates the power of how well the Switch is selling.
They do. Capcom underestimates how the Switch is doing in these games, because the thing about it is that Capcom is not paying attention to the indie scene and how AAA games that get ported to the Switch is doing. I don't know how Resident Evil 7 is doing with their streaming thing, but they only did that for Japan, and they put a time limit on how long you can play that game. You buy the game and you only can stream it for 90 days. So that's more like a rental than actually owning the game. And you have to be in Japan to actually play it. You can't play it nowhere else in the world, but only in Japan.
Well, in the new Monster Hunter game though, that's a Switch exclusive, right? Like that's only for Switch.
Generation Ultimate, yeah, because that is a port of Monster Hunter Generations, or XX that was on 3DS. It's the same game, but it's bigger, and they added there. I think they're adding more stuff because it's running on Switch. Because they didn't bring. If that was the case, they would have brought Monster Hunter World to Switch. But they're probably going to take a look at how Generation does. And Generation did fine here in America. It didn't do so well in Japan. So they're going to be taking a look at that. And I think what Capcom doesn't realize is that you have to look at each individual continent: Europe, Australia, North America, and Japan. In Asia, being their big markets, for selling games. And because Nintendo Switch is doing so good everywhere, and just in most continents and stuff, and seeing all these games get announced, released, and you could sell 50,000 to 100,000 copies, and it's making you money. Capcom feels like they could make more money by placing these bigger games, on the other systems because they're putting it on two systems. So that's that's making up their budget back again. And Capcom is not paying attention to Hollow Knight, not paying attention to Shovel Knight, Dead Cells, Thumper, just all these other games that's coming to Switch that is doing very well. They're not even paying attention to Square Enix. Because if Capcom was paying attention to Square Enix, Lost Sphere did well. Iron Setsuna probably did well too. People are stoked to be playing The World Ends With You. When that drops for Switch, that's going to probably be another physical game that's going to be hard to buy. Square Enix still hasn't learned their lesson. Get your physical games out if people are telling you that they're going to buy it, because you already had a shortage of Bravely Default and was surprised on how well that game did. You did well. They learned their lesson with Bravely Default too. So it's just like Capcom needs to pay attention to all these companies who are putting their games on Nintendo, and that's making them money. Compared to them putting their stuff on other systems and having an expectation that it's going to sell there. Because what if Resident Evil 2 tanks? What if it don't? I doubt it will. Tanks in a way that the sales don't satisfy their numbers. Like the people, the CEOs and stuff. What you do 750,000 copies between Xbox One and PS4. But let's say Link's what is it Link? No, is it Link's Awakening?
Link's Awakening.
That's the one for the Game Boy Color. Yeah, Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
Let Capcom do a remake of Link's Awakening for Switch, and I bet you it would double what DMC does. That's 750,000 copies. Link's Awakening will probably do 1.5 million copies, digitally and physically put together. Doing a remake and probably adding more stuff. Oh heck, people would go bonkers if that happened. Just saying. But we got one more story because we're having multiple discussions. Golden Sun and Shining Force illustrator passes away. I'm sorry we have to take this one to a sad note. Siliconera is reporting that Hiroshi Kajiyama, the illustrator of the Golden Sun series, has passed away. His son made the announcement on his father's Twitter account on Saturday. The notice did not reveal the cause of death or how old he was. Kageyama started out in the video game industry in the 1990s and was known for his illustration, including the character and enemy design in the Shining Force series. Later down the line, he worked on the Golden Sun series for GBA and DS, and was also well known for his work in the manga industry. So, I believe Golden Sun is available on Wii U. I think they brought Game Boy Advance games there. I think it's available for it. I have Golden Sun on GBA, and I have Golden Sun Dark Dawn on the DS. And I've got I played one of the Shining Force games. It's kind of their Fire Emblem games, and it's kind of sad to see him go because he has done amazing work, and I feel bad because I didn't really keep up with them, but it is sad to see that someone creative and expressive as he was, who loved video games and just have amazing artwork, for him to pass away. So, if you guys, you can I don't know his Twitter account or anything, but if you guys want to reflect, go see if you could play Golden Sun or the Shining Force series, and and look at his box art and everything, and just appreciate the work that Kageyama-san has done. Anything you would like to say, or you never played the Golden Sun or Shining Force games?
Yeah, no, I'm not familiar with either of those things, so I'll probably I'll go look at it later and see what it looks like, stuff. Yeah, because I early Nintendo, like I was kind of bigger into stuff, and then more recently that I've really gotten back into obviously Super Nintendo and stuff, but like I it's always been sporadic with me with gaming on all systems, really. So there's been points in time in my life where I just was off doing other stuff and didn't really game at all for like a couple of years. So,
well, Kageyama-san, you will be missed. I enjoyed your work. I love seeing the illustrations that you did. So, yeah. Everybody just keep his family in prayer and friends in prayer, or if you know his Twitter things, just send some good vibes out to him. So with that, everybody, that's it for Nintendo Power Block. Jesse, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at PhantomMaggotAX.
You guys can find me on Twitter at ThatRetroCode, and you can also check out Optional Opinion. You can also check on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, iTunes, all that other stuff, the good stuff. You can check more of Nintendo Power Block on our YouTube page at Nerds Gone Rogue. You can also check it out at ngrradio.com. We go up every Tuesday. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the show. Lately it has been audio, so hopefully you guys have been enjoying the audio episodes and things like that. You guys can email the show at nintendopopblock@gmail.com. We still want to hear what you guys think. Your Nintendo game versus other games. Like I said, 3 pros for each game, 3 cons for each game. It's not a battle to see who wins or anything or who loses, but it's good to see the comparison on why you put one game versus another. So, you guys can find us, like I said, on our Facebook page also. I forgot our Facebook page, Nintendo Power Block on Facebook. And, that is it. We will see you next week. Hopefully Corey will be returning, and once he makes his return, the hosting duties will be back in his hands. Unless he wants me to continue to host temporarily. I don't know. But thank you, Jesse, for joining me. Thank you for the great discussions. And we will see you guys next time on Nintendo Power Block. Bye.
Bye.